Hi, in this slide I'm starting to use some color coding to help me get through this thicket. Um, in this kind of blue color, I will use Texas A&M terms. So what's the taxonomy for Texas A&M? They talk about four quadrants: core customers, opportunistic customers, marginal and drain, and service drain. I've blended in with that some red terms which kind of take their ideas and extend them further. They've not bought into this, but this is basically Bruceology kind of stuff. And we might say, well, if we took all of our core customers, could we break them into further subsets or niches? In other words, if I'm a electrical distributor and I sell electrical component kind of stuff to large commercial contractors, they're going to buy a different array of one-stop shop SKUs than if I'm also selling motor control materials into factory automation systems. And then I might go after utilities and sell utilities fill-in utility ingredients. And we start to realize, well, gosh, we could have big core customers from a financial viewpoint, but in each one of those niches out of one warehouse, but actually each one of those customers could, well, certainly they'll have a different array of one-stop shop SKU they want to buy. So we won't necessarily have equal fantastic one-stop shop best fill rate availability if we don't understand it and measure it. And it's very possible that each one of those customers, because of how they do business, may have service value metrics that are different from one another. So how do we take core customers and improve our service value proposition by focusing on one niche at a time to in effect be the best service value provider in that niche? And of course, the entire playlist of YouTube 4, playlist 4, clips 1 through 57 is about nicheonomics. I've already talked sort of about tuning fill rates and metrics for each niche, but where in that core customer cluster within a niche is a boundary line of margin dollars per order, per month, per year. We have to figure that out, but margin dollars on an annual basis, let's just say, where the customer can be provided a richer service model, a more expensive service model, as opposed to they need a leaner, different service model to deal with the margins. And most distributors who have gone to market with outside salespeople and who tend to have a warehouse in a warehouse district, it's not a Fastenal location, a 4-lane highway, or space at the mall. And therefore, when you're out of the mainstream, you have to have delivery. You have trucks that deliver stuff, whether they're your trucks or you have use of a delivery company to do it for you. So there's this group of customers that we've collected where we're giving them traditional wholesale services, but that's too expensive a model for the margin dollars they're not giving us. So there's a sort of an intermediate between retail and wholesale, which I call wholetail. So where's the boundary line for that? How do we create a different service model division and get those customers that are wholesale customers into that division? Again, references here, YouTube playlist 4, clips 37, 38, and 44 talk about that particular problem. Then another question would be, if we're in a given niche with core customers, who are the ones from a strategic, just focus viewpoint that we could hyper focus as a total team and actually get big breakthrough results? In other words, we're guilty of trying to, we're sort of providing general service to everybody as opposed to so few customers or have such huge upside as far as how fast they're growing, what small share we have of them, how we could even tune our relationship better. But we can't. We don't have the time. We're too busy taking care of too many customers with standard service for which we don't get paid for. So that gets us into the 5-5-5 concept, and how do we get the total team to focus on that. So those are questions and opportunities that are just in the core customer area that Texas A&M has identified. Within the opportunistic area, or quadrant of the Texas A&M model, we could say, all right, fine, let's take opportunistic customers within a given niche. So that's getting a little bit more refined. Then more specifically, how do we identify the 4% of all companies out there who are perpetual innovators and therefore growing faster and more profitably than their industry brethren, and frankly eating up market share, so they're organically putting other industry competitors out of business, or maybe they're buying them financially and running them better. So there's two types of consolidators. And then if we went out to call on one of these gazelles and said, we've figured out that you're the fast train to be on, so can we marry you so you'll grow us? And they'd say, well, that's fine, but why should we marry you? Big issue is if they are true economic value buyers and we have a better total service value proposition because we have figured out the niche and how to tune our service value prop for the niche, then we have a chance to crack that account wide open. If they say, well, no, actually, I buy from a buddy, and even though his service may not be perfect and so forth, that's just what I'm going to do as long as I'm here. That's just what I choose to do. So even though we have a better economic value, they may even intellectually appreciate it. Emotionally, they're not going to do it. So that would not be as good a target account to go after as a gazelle who's a value buyer. So again, these are questions, opportunities that extend past and beyond the good work that Texas A&M has done. The third box they have is marginal and drain customers. And there we could say, well, all right, they may be a drain, but it's the problem because our service model is too expensive for what they're giving us. There are plenty of distributors who sell contractors, and these contractors walk into a counter at a distribution center and say, hi, I'd like to buy the equivalent of one AA battery. And some human being who's very expensive says, oh, no problem, let me go get that for you, and I'll bring it back, and I'll give you the thing, and then you sign here, and then we'll send you an invoice in the mail so we can give you trade credit in this AA battery. And we're going to sell it at full wholesale list price with this fat margin of 35%. Well, 35% of nothing is nothing, and you can walk into a CVS, a drugstore, or True Value hardware store. There are lots of places you can buy AA batteries, and you can't even buy one. You have to buy them pack 4 and 12, and the prices are higher and so forth. We're providing a service model on a small little item that's structurally a loser. So how do we take all these little customers who are growing nowhere and say, okay, let's provide a different service model where the prices are higher and some of the services we have are taken out or unbundled and they have to pay for them? Sure, they're not going to like it. I mean, everybody wants to be overserviced and underpriced. But how do we create a wholesale division, and how do we deal with this, and how do we maximize the profits out of that division going forward? These are just questions that we can pile on top of this category that Texas A&M has identified. The last division is service drain, where this is where we'd have the 1% of the customers that are eating up, destroying 20% of the net peak internal profits. So they're big customers with big margin dollars and seemingly good margin percent. It's just the way they do business with us creates a cost to serve that vastly exceeds the margin dollars. And here, the add-on, tack-on question to Texas A&M's work would be, is there a way that somehow we can turn this lead account into gold? So that's like literally alchemy, straw into gold. So we'll look at that in the next slide. Thanks.